gonna give me orders?
This is the final match. Rank 2 versus Hiya on Gladiator. Russell Crowe. Well, let's hype this thing up a bit, shall we? I was just mentioning in the last set about Hiya's excellent game versus Free a couple seasons back in the MSL. So you got that amazing TV piece starring Hiya, and Harang just recently defeated Flash in the Pro League. Of course, he lost to him the next time they faced each other, but let's forget about that part. He beat Flash. So this should be one hell of a TVP. Here we go. Except, down at the 5 o'clock position in purple is Harang, number 2. Don't see much of the first Harang these days. I think he retired. But at the 8 o'clock position in blue was Hiya. Sweating profusely already, Harang. I see. Yes. He knows that some kind of bizarre nonsense is coming his way and it's making him nervous. What are you going to do, Hiya? Whatever it is, you know it's going to be ridiculous. There's the fans in the audience going crazy! Well, hiding their faces. Screaming, homeboys, make some noise, let me hear you say Hiya! No, they probably weren't saying that. Well, they were saying the Korean equivalent of such, which is much more subdued, quieter, and more respectful. But okay, pylon being built inside that man. Look at that epic freaking pylon. Okay, I'll stop overhyping this match. I'm good at overhyping, though. That's what I like to do, is just hype up the smallest, most ridiculous matchups I still have to pour hype into. Try to make it overflow with hype. Yeah, I don't think I have to hype this much, but these guys are fantastic. Fantastic. It would be tough to really gauge Hiya's current level of play, though. Showing the devoted fans again. Look at them screaming their heads off. Is that Chill? I think it's Chill from Team Liquid. No, maybe not. I'm not good at identifying white people, I'm sorry. You all look alike to me. But Hiya, as I was saying, it's difficult to determine how well he's playing. With the few games he's played today, I haven't really been able to gauge his level of play. I haven't gotten much information from his games. You'd assume because he's not on the team house that he'd be playing horribly, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Even in his game versus Zero, I don't think he played horribly. Had fairly good reaction time with those Marines to pull back. Ended up losing, of course, but who knows? I feel a bit lost in this last game because I can't pull back on Hiya's history and say, recently he's been doing pretty well or pretty horribly, because he doesn't have a recently. Hasn't been on the team, hasn't been doing anything. It's very difficult to tell. It's like when Effort came back. No one knew how Effort would play. He had a much longer hiatus than Hiya, by the way. But everyone was like, is he going to be horrible or his great self? He was a bit in the middle, more towards his great old self, though, I'd say. Effort put up some very strong play from his comeback. So you never know how these things might go. There is Hiya trying to get some more information. Side of this main. I see the factory coming up already for him. On the other side, inside of his main. See, he is known as Magikarp because his mouth is always open when he plays. And he looks like a Magikarp. But I'm sure he'd rather be called Gyarados or whatever that thing is. What was that thing called? It was G-Y-A... Gyarados? I think it was just Gyarados. I used to love Pokemon back in the day, man. Back when there were 150... No, as far as I'm concerned, there are only 151 Pokemon. The rest can burn in hell. They do not count. They are not canonical. I don't care what you say. Pokemon Black and White and Silver and Purple and Magenta. I don't give a crap. Okay, that was a weird rant. But okay, so, Marines hanging outside that natural expansion. Trying to intercept an incoming Zealot or something. But the Dragoon is chasing away Hiya's scouts. So it's not sure if Hiya will be able to get in with the scout or not. The Dragoon is still hot on the SCV's trail, I think, trying to hunt it down, get it before it goes back to the natural, but it could be a bit too late. I think the Hiya is already on his way over to Harang's base. Nice close-up on Harang's sweaty face. I think they're doing that on purpose. Kinda gross, guys. about trying to show that he's a bit nervous, I guess. But there's Dragoon coming in. The Dragoon does not have Dragoon range, so it won't be that good against these Marines. But a Dragoon with Dragoon range can take out 30 or so Marines, as Tempest showed a couple seasons back in the Pro League game, I think it was. Yeah. No, one Dragoon getting taken down already. This very early Dragoon kill by Hiya. But Hiya deciding not to press his luck too much, hanging back to that high ground area. Nice sliver of land right outside the natural expansion where he can just hold there until he has the amount of troops he needs. Has some more vultures and probably an additional tank before he tries to push again. But he's laying the mines, has a nice little minefield right outside of his natural, moving out with some more vultures, 2 additional gateways, and a robotics facility out for Harangue. Let's see, secondary nexus getting ready to come up, and a vulture getting close to sneaking by that vulture, but a vulture getting close to sneaking by the vulture, of course. The Dragoon trying to sneak by the Dragoon. He does get by the defenses, going to try to sneak in and get as many probe kills as he can. So the Dragoon going to have to chase this vulture down. It's still 2 hits away. Phase disruptor hits. Oh, nice. Probe micro right there from Harangue. Corners the vulture and takes it down with particle beams alone. Well done, guys. They work for minimum wage, but they still put everything into their job. I respect that, dudes. Alright. Well, the probes are robots. They probably don't get paid. That's even more tragic. But a couple strategically placed mines on the high ground. So without observers, Harangue would be completely screwed there. It wouldn't have the reaction time moving up a hill like that to take out those mines with Dragoons alone. But luckily for him, he is playing defensive and starting a pylon wall at his natural expansion. Of course, he's not going to do a complete pylon wall inside of his natural and lock himself in. He's going to have the partial wall with those pylons. He's already moving out a bit with the Dragoons. These pylons might actually prove a bit difficult for the Dragoons, for the Dragoon pathfinding, which is one of the worst in the game. Dragoons have a tough time getting places, but there's a vulture sneaking inside the natural expansion, taking out 2 probes already. So hopefully Harangue can pull out a little bit more probe micro to kill this vulture, but the vulture's not dead yet. Inside that main, there's the Dragoon coming in, picking off the vulture, so not that big of a deal. Tanks intercept the Dragoons as soon as they get close, taking out one, probably doing some shield damage to the others. So it was a bit cavalier of Harangue to rush in like that without even getting close with the observer. I'm not even sure if he had his observer out first because he got just flattened by the tanks at the front. Okay. Let's see. Dragoon's just hanging outside, and Hiya will probably try to inch up a bit, try to catch those Dragoons off guard if he does get a scout of where the Dragoons are. He's pulled back inside of his main with some tanks, so he might be anticipating a drop of some kind. But there's a Stargate coming up already for Harangue. And it's, since he does have the Citadel of Advent up already, we could see a nice Arbiter build. Probe. Oh, the probe is stuck. Stuck probe between the buildings. Sure. Yep. Harangue probably just now noticed that, but does not want to cancel that Stargate. Put him a little bit further behind in an Arbiter build, if he is doing an Arbiter build. It certainly seems like one so far. But a couple of additional factories being built by Hiya inside of his main. Poor trapped probe. But 3 additional facts. So I'll give Hiya plenty of ground presence. There's the Academy, going to work up to scan soon. Let's see. See the shuttle moving out. Most of Harangue's army moving back into the middle of the map to rendezvous with the shuttle. Trying to make sure they can stay next to that shuttle. Possibly full of zealots at the moment for zealot bombs on top of those tanks. Let's see. Yeah, just hanging out with the Dragoons. Haven't seen hardly any zealots yet, so they probably are stuffed into that shuttle at the moment. There is Hiya laying mines at the prospective 3rd base for Harangue. So if Harangue does move out, try to throw down his 3rd base soon, he's going to be in for a rude surprise at that 3 o'clock at least, if that is where he wants to expand. Be the most natural place. Look at all these gateways, tons of gateways, and morphing into an Archon right now. And there's the Arbiter Tribunal. So he was using the Templar Archives to get into Archons and the Arbiters. So, yeah, I'm going to make short work of those tanks with stasis soon if Hiya should try to push out. Let's see. Dragoon's doing a good job at defending. Harang is in full defense mode right now, moving out with the shuttle, but not getting completely close. I think it was just kind of testing the waters, doing a bit of additional scouting with that shuttle. Shuttles are good for getting scouting info as well. Can be quickly microed. Let's see. Archon moving out. A pretty substantial ground army from Harang, but he doesn't want to get too close to these siege tanks like what happened earlier